Ciao Tim, thanks a lot. And Snake Oil, at the beginning, if I'm not wrong, was the first union of those musical talents in the same ensemble. After some years, which is the dynamic and the balance inside this group? What's the spirit of the project? It's also getting bigger and more complex, I think.
I don't know about more complex. In some ways it's getting less complex, but there's more. Sometimes we do it with Ryan Ferreira, who's a guitar player, so there's 5 of us on this tour. Mm-hmm. But often we also play as a quartet. But there's obviously more familiarity. It's getting more complex in terms of the instrumentation. Like Chess is now playing vibraphone and percussion, and on the record it's timpani. I guess there's some slightly more electronic on the new record and the next record. But mostly we've played more together. We've played more concerts. We know each other better. I think I don't have to explain anything anymore. Maybe the first year I had to talk a little bit about what I was looking for. But now we pretty much just play the music and they kind of understand.
You have your own record company, but some of your production are made otherwise. In particular, the Snake Oil production is made also with ECM since 2012. What's the difference between these two solutions? Having everything under control or collaborating with another people with strictly creative responsibilities? In this case, how can we consider Manfred Eicher involvement, for example?
Well, I'm always collaborating. On the Screw Gun records, I'm collaborating with David Torn, who usually produced them and mixed them, and so it's always been a collaboration. I would say with Manfred, the first record he produced, so sonically it was more of a collaboration with him. He was kind of more in charge of the sound. As far as the choosing the material and the music, that was pretty much me in all cases. And then the last 2 ECM records were produced by David Torn. So it's not that much different than doing a Screw Gun record, except that I benefit a great deal from the distribution that ECM has and the potential, I guess, for press. And then the book that I put out is Screw Gun, and that CD was a live recording with Snake Oil, which was unproduced. It's just a document. But both scenarios are good. I pretty much always have control of the material and the musical content, although I'm always interested in other opinions, either from the band or from whoever the producer is. When I work with David, he certainly offers an opinion, and as I've gotten older or more experienced, I'm less threatened by other opinions, and I think I'm more secure.
Yeah.
And it's good to have another outlook, especially from someone who isn't coming from the same background. You get another perspective. I think records should be special. It shouldn't just be a document. So I'm always looking for other insight, and also especially from the band. I'm interested in their opinion.
Okay. For many musicians, there are some experience of the past when they were younger that they consider pivotal for their consequent career. Did it happen for you also? Not only having played with someone, but also being part of a special concert audience or having shared some particular life experiences.
I'm not sure I understand.
No, specifically about your career. Do you think that some of your experiences have been more meaningful to bring you where you are now?
I think all of them are. I think anytime, if we're talking about music, anytime you're playing, you're going to learn something, even if it's bad. You're going to learn what you don't want to do. And certainly my first important teachers, Anthony Braxton, Julius Hemphill, were a big influence on me, not even just musically, but also the way they presented themselves, the way they, just how seriously they took the music and what their their motivation for music, playing music. It wasn't, obviously they weren't motivated by any kind of commercial hopes, So for me, that was a good example, just seeing these guys, how serious they were, irregardless of success or no success. And there are a lot of people like that. And now, it's obviously not just musical, but anybody who's, has integrity, who's not afraid to fail, or people who are taking chances, who are creative, I find stimulating, whether it's movies, books, music, whatever.
And not considering the various definitions of music, I'm quite interested in occasions in which musical languages apparently different meet. It is often very creative. What do you think about these possibilities? I think it happened also to you and your group several times. For example, for the recent concert in Milan with Sentieri Selvaggi and Carlo Boccadoro, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Those situations. That was an interesting situation. I would say. It was quite different than what I expected. I liked working with those musicians quite a bit. I think it would have benefited from more time, maybe together, because the music was quite complicated, and I think it was a good first concert. I think it would get better if we did it again, just like anything. But in most cases, for me, those kinds of project ideas are less interesting to me than just working with my band. I'm not really. I have a lot of respect for classical music, maybe so much that I don't think that I'm not sure it's a great fit for me. Just because I don't have that much experience, writing for that situation. I think it's a different world. I'm quite satisfied working with improvisers and people who have a high level of understanding notated music and improvisation.
Being a musician is still an adventurous way of to earn a living. All the others are getting more and more risky, even being a clerk, I think. Anyway, now, which are plus and minus of your activity nowadays, in your opinion?
Of music?
Of being a musician?
Well, unfortunately, the recording industry is kind of almost over. So making records has become it's becoming more and more obsolete in a way, or less viable. Unless you have somebody backing you financially. It's pretty difficult to do, and most record companies don't have any money or don't want to spend any money. It's difficult to sell records. People don't really want to pay for music. Concerts are still possible, but it's not easy. It seems like, my feeling is that in most cases, all these improvements, like the internet and all these different ways of listening to music is going to make live music or musicians pretty soon are going to be expendable. I don't think it's an improvement. It's good for the listener who doesn't want to pay, but I just don't think it's helped anything in a way that I can see. So I think progress is definitely the enemy. That kind of progress.
Apart of alto sax, one of your favorite instruments is baritone sax. One for the good days, the other one for the bad days. Am I right? Now, how did you come to it at last?
How did I come to
Baritone.
baritone? I always wanted to play. I like low sounds, and I always wanted to play a lower instrument. So I don't know. I had a chance to buy a baritone pretty cheaply, and so I think in 1990 I bought one and started playing it with this group miniature, a trio. And, just really enjoyed it. I feel real empathy for the sound. And, physically, it kind of fits my body, and yeah, I like it. It's hard to travel with.
Yes.
But yeah, I like playing it.
I read in the interview you gave some time ago to Ethan Iverson that you were a curious and passionate listener before being a musician also. Among your brother LPs, college radio, postal orders, listening session with your friend. Now it would be a more private passion, less shared with web access, for example, to virtually everything. Can you tell us about this passion? Do you still have the chance to follow it in this approach? And which are the things you are listening now?
I have the chance. I don't, now I'm working on music, so it's hard to, sometimes you don't really want to just listen to nothing, silence. But, when I listen to music, I'm curious about new things. People are always giving me CDs, and I'll check out new stuff. I listen to almost anything, but mostly things people recommend. I don't go out looking for stuff all the time, or also old things that I never listened to, like pop things like this group Talk I never knew about. And people turn me on to things, and or Andrew Hill, somebody I didn't listen to a lot when I was younger. Sort of go back and listen to it. But yeah, it's kind of all over the place. And I don't just listen to things I like. Sometimes I'll hear things that maybe I don't like, just out of curiosity. But I don't get together with people and listen to music so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tim.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.